Good evening. I appreciate you being here and I appreciate being heard. I almost didn't show up tonight. I almost gave in to the nagging voices telling me that this wouldn't matter, that no one cares what I have to say. If I've learned anything from the wisdom of Wentworth Miller, it's that the opportunity to inspire, to comfort, or even to save just one lost soul is the only reason needed to ensure that this message of hope, unity, and love gets expressed, gets spoken, and gets the chance to be received. As living proof of the one soul that Wentworth's voice has inspired, it became clear to me that I could not let my own be unheard, unsaid, or unimpacted. Perhaps in my next speech we can discuss something more uplifting in great detail, such as Darren Olean and Zac Efron currently filming season 2 of their world-changing Netflix documentary Down to Earth, or Aurora's most recent live performance of The Seed, showcased in the middle of the forest she grew up playing in as a child for this past Earth Day Eve celebration on National Geographic. Or even Mr. Miller's own drive for positive change from within Hollywood and the choices and actions that he's made to fight for all. For now, there's just too much that has become filtered, censored, and whittled down to ensure that there remains only one discoverable perspective, and in turn limits any effect of growth, progress, or literal truth, something that I feel deserves all of our efforts, awareness, and natural abilities in dissecting, understanding, and defending. It is no coincidence that anything you could ever want to research on Google returns to you with results from nearly the same exact sites that regurgitate the same exact things. It is no coincidence that Google is not a search engine or even the search engine that you seek and learn information through, but rather Google is a gigantic corporation that makes and sells your cellular devices, drills under your homes and your neighborhoods to ensure a 360-degree grid exists no matter where you go, knows every word you've ever uttered and every place that you've ever been, and every dollar that you've ever spent, and also happens to still have a website that decides for you what information you access, how much of it is provided, and from what period of time and source this information was created. It is no coincidence that every article you're given to read on a silver platter is nearly word for word the same article on another site for another location or search regarding the same subject matter. If everything said the same thing and anything that said anything else was just left off of your immediate results, then a search of 10 minutes or less will lead you to discover one singular fact repeated to you 10 plus times from 8 plus sources, and boom, you now know all of the facts. Every single one, depthless little fact that you were given to work with over and over again. It is no coincidence that these non-coincidences can be so easily identified, expressed, and explained either. For if I, an individual man with an individual mind, just like anybody else, were to point at them and say, "Hey y'all, what's up with this?" you would have every reason, and right, it's your life after all, to say, "Stephen, why on earth would this be true?" You really think that if they were trying to restrict our information or limit our growth, that they would be this obvious about it? I cannot make you believe or disbelieve anything. I cannot convince you that I am only interested in all of us being the most wonderful, informed, healthiest, loveliest, truest versions of ourselves. I cannot make you believe that I don't care about personal fame, gain, validation over a mission of strength, love, and empowerment for all. I cannot force you into recognizing that my ulterior motive, my deeper purpose in these expressions is not lurking in the shadows, but is as clear and evident as light itself. I have no secrets to keep, burdens to bear, nor faults to disguise. I am far from perfect, and so is this world that we live in. With the right mindfulness, intention, understanding, knowledge, and recognition, I, and you, and the world at large can be the brightest and best versions of these existences that we've ever dreamed. I cannot require you to understand that this reality alone is worth believing in, fighting for, and remaining an outcast as a result of. That is up to you. That is your freedom that I am simultaneously advocating for. Don't believe everything you read on the internet is what we're told, what we've regurgitated to others, and what we presently pretend to believe. But if the same thing is handed to you 10 straight times, no matter where it comes from, it must be true, right? 10 of the top results all agreed. What else is there to discover? Are we not just wasting our time looking beyond that? For what? The same confirmation a few more times? Look, 10 of the top 15 results are all in agreement. Not only that, they're all presented in nearly the same way. They all address the claim at hand in a very simple black and white narrative, and by the second paragraph, have already begun to discredit whatever the original belief was and ushered in the real truth, the one that the other 9 seemingly copy and pasted articles point to as well. If you completely disagree with this concept, go try it out yourself. Science is useless without worthy experimentation that showcases conclusive results, no? Just for transparency, I initially prepared and provided the results of this experiment within this speech, but I began to recognize that it was senseless to do so. It's like vegans shouting from the rooftops to meat eaters that it's better for the environment to cut down on meat consumption. This isn't a new discovery. In fact, the horrors of the meat industry, the health benefits of a more plant-based diet, and the overall world benefit that comes with a slight change in diet has been well expressed, well documented, and incessantly preached for decades now. What on earth makes you think that meat eaters will suddenly feel affected by the same facts that they've held no emotions for? Certain vegans will guilt you with sayings like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting different results, while ignoring the fact that they're doing exactly that, and ignoring the fact that the definition of insanity is actually a severely disordered state of the mind, usually occurring as a specific disorder. What they are really talking about is stagnation, conformity, and addiction, the acceptance of just how it is. The unwillingness to think outside of what you're told, and the comfortability that comes with feeding your mind and body the same lifestyle day in and day out for decades on decades on decades. For that reason, I won't waste either of our time diving into the statistics of how many sites boast the best fact checker, nor how many of those same sites are the only ones that show up in any search results, nor how every result is centered around COVID-19, politics, and any further polarizing divisive issues that make up your daily news coverage. I won't waste my time because, for one, I already did, and I see the truth in the results and wish to not further that blatant negativity myself, but mainly two. We both already know what's true. Me telling it to you again would serve no further purpose. I could even dive into each individual source, whether it be Google, Snopes, PolitiFact, etc., and their history, background, and origin, and explain how and why these companies may not actually be the most unbiased end-all be-all truth-tellers that they portray themselves as, but that would lead to the same result. My extensive research, hard-earned awareness, and deep dissections into these issues, providing me with a more rounded, uncommonly discovered version of events, actions, and realities, attempting to compete head-on with your own life experiences, comforts, and viewpoints that shape your beliefs, behaviors, and willingness to accept change, to accept a simple opposing take from your own viewpoint, or just the refusal and denial that comes with the reality of everything you've ever understood crumbling into something else. Something beyond you. It is my view that if you are willing to believe the truth that I set forth before you, and distance, even for a moment, from the truth that gets scripted for you on TV and media, then you will seek to disprove or prove the ideas that I present to you and form your own well-educated opinion. There is truthfully nothing I want more, even if you disagree with me in the end. Simply attempting to learn an outside perspective does wonders for our individual growth and potential. The same is important to me in my own life, which is why I have a dedicated reach out portion on my website, encouraging you to contact me in any and all ways listed. This is also why in every email I've ever sent out to my dedicated list, I make sure to express my interest in differing perspectives and encourage all to feel welcome to discuss an opposing view with me. If my aim was to get everyone to think like me, to behave like me, and to live like me, I would be no different than the issues that I'm speaking out against. the issues that face our country and our planet daily that contribute to the formation of one single human. A human that wakes up, drives the same route to work to do the same job, performing the same actions to get off at the same time, to go home via the same route, to eat the same dinners and watch the same television shows that they post about on the same sites, to feel the same false validation and pseudo-relatability to others who also do the same things and go to sleep at the same time, to wake up at the same time, to do the same thing again on a brand new day. By condensing the art that you view, hear, or feel to be the same as everyone else's, you aren't being anybody yourself. Anyone on Earth can watch the same material, feel the same effects that stem from this never fluctuating monotony, repetition, and false justification. It's proven that who, what, and where we surround ourselves within and around is fundamental and the outcome of how we behave and feel as individuals, the personality we formed, the choices we've made, and the trajectory we've traveled on as a result. I am constantly evolving, tweaking, and better understanding not just myself or my own way of life and state of being, but also my presentation and the delivery of my ideas. I am always attempting to speak in a more effective way than I did previously, in an effort to reach further and inspire more every time I open my mouth or ink on paper. In fact, this entire speech was originally going to be about the beauty industry and the lack of necessity in 99% of products pushed. But as my feelings swayed and developed about this specific section of consumerism, I recognized that I needed to zoom out further. Yes, of course, the beauty industry is essentially one big scam, but expressing that fact so narrowly and expending all of my effort on items and numbers would result in yet another situation where you are presented with evidence of facts that you already know. Having said that, it seems the following point cannot ever be stressed enough. The amount of time that we humans outright waste entertaining the pressures and weight of visual appearance is not only dangerous to our and the world's well-being, but it ensures that this sick cycle of constant dejection only continues, strengthens, and becomes further entrenched in every generation's daily upbringing forever. The more mothers of the world that instill in their daughters that it's time she wear this makeup to advance professionally, it's time that she wear this dress for boys to begin to notice her, it's time that she lose this weight to ever be taken seriously. The more fathers that instill in their sons that he needs to quit whining, stop crying, and toughen up, that his emotions are his weakness, that girls are his object to win rather than fellow humans to learn from. The more parents we have passing down the horrific, abusive, and restrictive teachings, the more like-minded, misguided parents we create for the next generation to do exactly the same and ensure the cycle never stops. Though these issues are primarily for the up-and-coming generations to eliminate, the effort in doing so is necessary from all of us. The amount of time we spend dejecting others, feeling dejected ourselves, or entertaining dejecting material and art is world-ending. We consistently guarantee, with every choice that we make and every word that we mutter, that nobody feels good, nobody looks forward to tomorrow, and everybody has spent their lives being absolutely no one. For being such ego-focused individuals, we sure do know how to become like everyone else. We sure know how to slam ourselves down because we don't look, sound, or act exactly like the person next to us, or the person on TV, or the person on a mobile app. We need to wake up and recognize that we are stressed because we are sad. And we are sad because we are not being our truest selves, and we are fighting inside so hard to be what we think we have to be. Being doesn't take thought. It takes heart, love, joy, light, life. As I've said before, I believe in the world ahead. I believe there's lots to accomplish and lots will happen to distract and diminish along the way. However it plays out, I look forward to tomorrow. And I hope you do too. Your children will thank you for the optimism that they can carry forward into action, and you will thank yourself for having a wonderful day instead of any other. As always, stay strong. Thank you, and good night.